Welcome to the Rocket Launcher podcast. I am your host, Supreme King. This is episode 164. I'm here joined with Alpha 5, and his name is
Alpha 5.
We having fun. Ladies and gentlemen, I assure you, you will not be disappointed if you go out there and buy yourself a slush maker. This thing is just amazing. I swear to you, it's amazing. We are here once again. My apologies for no solo content being dropped this upcoming week. I do have everything ready to go though. I've just been chilling, playing my own video games, playing my January games. I got a whole bunch of stuff. My co-host has been playing this BioShock ripoff, whatever they call this thing. I'm just playing. This is Outer Worlds 2, Xbox game, I believe, or I forgot who it was.
Obsidian. So
Obsidian. And so, according to my co-host, he has finished the game. He 100%ed it, platinumed it, got all the. He put out some reviews, sent them to IGN. So he wants to tell you right now all about this game, and I'm gonna let him do it. I'm about to just sit back and just relax, enjoy my little slush. I'm gonna let him take the floor.
Yeah. So this is a great game. It's very similar to the first one, Outer Worlds, with its own story. Where I think it's a positive, I think some of the gameplay feels a lot sharper. The story, if you're into like detective sort of things, is really good. A nice, like, clean cut, like, really good, just story that they planned out for it. What's nice is this had an episode on that Amazon show, Secret Level, where it's like all the different like shows based on different video games, and specific missions tie in to that episode, so rewards you for having seen it. And it's where the first one was a lot bigger in open world stuff, but then you sometimes get to certain planets where kind of nothing's happening. I believe in the first one there was like one specific planet where it was just kind of boring for most of it. It was just kind of desert walking through and very little to do. This one, every planet is like full. And it rewards you for exploration, but your choices do matter. They do kind of force you to stick with stuff, so you can't respec your character. Once you choose your skills, that's it. So it could lock you out of nothing like main story, but it can lock you out of certain things if you do a couple missions in or a specific order. It can lock you out of certain things. And where for RPG people we're used to kind of clicking every option when talking with somebody to get everything, sometimes saying certain things will lock you out. I noticed for this one you could pick a background. So I picked a background of like a renegade character, and a lot of times if I chose the renegade option, it wasn't always the best option when talking with people. They would get mad, but it was fitting to the character. They introduced a flaw system. You can ignore the flaws if you want, but they check like certain patterns. So if you click to lie in a conversation a few times, you could select a flaw that says basically in conversations, if there's a lying option, your character will automatically lie. But it gives you some bonuses and other stuff as well. So they have different flaws. Some of them, they'll warn you that it will fundamentally change the game and could extra lock you out of certain things or make it difficult in certain parts if you have to be nice to a faction because of the choices that you made. And you get to choose whether you want to be a good guy, a bad guy, all of that. Where this game kind of fails, and not fails, but it's kind of worse than the first one, I think the companions weren't as good. I feel like there was a better connection with the companions in the first game, where this one they were a little more one note and a little more annoying. Where like in the first game, you kind of feel like you want to make sure you find every companion and work with all of them. Where in the second one, you kind of feel like, well, no, there's a couple where it's like I should probably skip this person. But it was still fine. So really enjoyable game. Finally beat it. Definitely suggest it if you're into like Fallout in that RPG sense.
All right, so I remember I think it was last summer when this was being showcased at the Xbox's summer showcase
Hmm.
around the time when everybody used to call their stuff a E3 thing. Now it's really just a YouTube thing, and they took E3 out of it. But a lot of the Xbox heads were saying that this game was not necessarily a game that should have been considered the main event of the show, and they didn't feel like it was a main event game. Do you disagree with that? Do you feel like this is a main event game of the month for someone, or is it like something they would play secondary while playing something else that's their main event game?
I would say yes, depending. Oh, like yes, it is a main event game, depending on the type of player you are. I know that feels kind of like a cop out answer, but what I mean by that is if you are into the RPG style, Fallout style conversation, trying to figure things out with small puzzles, um, sharp gameplay, sharp mechanics with the running and gunning and all that.
Mm-hmm.
But like trying to solve a mystery and kind of having one of those games where some of the lore is more in the background than it is in the foreground. You just kind of got to pick up on certain things. If that's your style of game, then yeah, it's a great game. I think it is a main event, and from the summer showcase, it was the game I was most looking forward to. But if you're kind of like, I like my games more straightforward, or I don't really want to do all of that talking or things like that, then this probably isn't a game for you. I've actually been seeing a lot of it was funny on Reddit posts where they're going to like outer world subreddits going, is the game worth it? And it's like, well, you're on a fan page for it, so of course everyone's gonna say yes. But it's like honestly, it's if you enjoy Fallout or Skyrim or that type of thing, then yeah, the game is worth it. If it's not really your style, then no, wait for a sale. But I think it is worth playing at least.
And they should play the first one first.
Oh, you don't have to. It
You
helps
don't
with
have
some
to.
of the background lore. But they are this game takes place, I think, like 10 years after the first, but unrelated to the first. So like you get a little more background on two of the factions. But it's very easy to figure out what's going on without it.
Okay.
Just like even for example, that episode that I mentioned from Secret Level, if you haven't seen the episode, you still get all of the lore in here enough to like still care about the characters and figure things out. Is just if you have played or if you had seen the episode, it adds a little extra to the characters. But yeah, this is a own complete story. I don't even remember referencing the first one. It's just the main thing is the first one has two really big factions, and then the second one they've fused together as one faction. But again, it doesn't. Not knowing that doesn't hurt the story at all.
So does this game have similar quirky, weird background sense of humor like BioShock, or did they kind of deviate away from that and try to
It
do?
does have some, but nothing extra wild. So, um, for example, for those that have played the first one of the factions is very, very consumerist, right? So they kind of mock that it's like you have a consumerist uh one, you have a communist, pretty much like authoritarian society, and you have one that's all like brains and things like that. So they kind of like mock that a little bit. So one of the ones that's super consumerist, you'll hear certain things they say that is kind of goofy in terms of just like, oh my goodness, like my soldiers, they're in trouble, I'll go save them as long as it doesn't interrupt my like job hours, like things like there it'll be things like that. So
Okay.
little conversations between them where you can really see it's like that's a messed up way of thinking.
Okay. Um, I do know for a lot of people, um, this and plenty of other titles is ready and available on Game Pass.
Mm-hmm.
But then at the same time, I don't know if there's a big deep sale for this, but people
Not
can look
yet.
out for it because it's not it's about a year old now, right?
No, I came out in like October.
Oh, not a year, but like it was announced last year, but not okay.
Yeah.
So it'll be
Oh, I
going on
will
a
also
year.
say this: for
Hmm.
anybody that goes to play it, especially in the RPG sense, do not try and balance your character by like there's a lot of stats that you can choose through. Um, focus on like 4, and they'll never like lock you out of like anything that you really need. For example, there'll be like doors that like require either the starting perk of being like brawny, like you could pick between being strength or smart.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then they'll be like, or you have an engineering skill. There's usually only extra little items back there. There's nothing like really needed that you will get. So you don't have to try and balance. If you try and balance your character, it's not going to work out. You're never going to have enough skill for anything that you're trying to do. So you really focus on certain skills, and it may lock you out of some things, but like nothing that's important for missing.
Okay. Now coming up on a year, like October or really November 2026, that will be about a year later, and that'll
Mm-hmm.
be around Black Friday time. So you might be able to still, grab this on the sale if you don't really want to play it, or you could still play the first one real quick, just to get a sense of the idea.
Mm-hmm.
But for me, this kind of goes right into the next topic, which is really the Xbox developer direct details. Um, Typically, that is something where they tell you what's coming out, and it usually gives them a really hot summer. Very hot summer for Game Pass, and so you could play this and then play a bunch of those games that they have that's going to be in that direct. That direct is supposed to be on January 22nd. And I believe it's right in the middle of the day. That's going to be on 1 p.m. Eastern time on a Thursday. I believe is the 22nd. And so they are going to basically showcase only 3 of their titles, at least for the advertisement. But they said, or someone was saying, there's going to be a secret 4th title. But they're going to spend, from what I was hearing, close to 30 minutes on Fable. Everybody remember they were doing a Fable. I don't know if it's a
Mm-hmm.
remake or just like a Fable, a new Fable. But the new Fable is what they're going to spend a bulk of the time on. I don't know if it's fully 30 minutes because these are usually not that long. But the bulk of it is going to start with Fable. And then we're going to see a bunch of gameplay on that. And then we're going to turn back around and look at Forza Horizon 6, which they announced earlier on in the year at the Tokyo Game Show that this was going to take place, or the game was going to take place in Japan. But you're going to hear more about it here and see more with the gameplay here. Both Forza and Fable is supposed to show a great deal of, gameplay. And so that'll be cool to see. And then that's followed by another game that's like a little bit more of a newer title that they got that's called Beast of Reincarnation. And I actually think this was the game that was developed by Game Freak. And then everybody was mad at Game Freak because Pokemon didn't look better or something. But this one was supposed to. I mean, it's 2 different like game systems though, but they're developing this game for them, and it's supposed to be, action RPG game, Beast and Reincarnation. We'll just see more about it there. And then there's going to be some 4th title. I wouldn't be surprised if there was like some sort of Game Pass drop as well. So I look forward to their show. The January show has been better in the last couple of years. The only one that I didn't think was good was when they had that like podcast thing where it was like Phil Spencer and Sarah Bond and some other people, and they were just talking about how they had like only 4 games they was going to make multi-plat and stuff. It wasn't really a show at all. It was just what everybody wanted to just get the drama. But after that, they had some really good January shows where they set the tone for the summer, and the summer is usually the top time for Xbox. So I expect to see some cool stuff from them. And then there's always the other Game Pass games that you maybe didn't get around to, or I didn't get around to for me. that I can also get around to when checking out their platform. But yeah, that's the most of what I really have to say about that. Did you have anything you want to add about that show?
Oh no, I'm just excited to see what stuff is coming out. Hopefully it's not one of those things where they still show things and it's like 5 years away.
I doubt it. They've done a good job at really showing it for what's coming in the summer and then in the fall.
Hmm.
I think their summer show is usually the one where they'll throw something out there that's like, hey, this is a really big thing that we might not see for a while. But the January show is usually, hey, this is what's to set up the summer. And so I expect that one to be a little bit more grounded where you just get, some content that's for this year. I do encourage as many relevant platforms to definitely start focusing more on the actual year and not like 4 or 5 years out and here's a teaser but we ain't even start anything yet. We just literally spent like half a year working on the teaser. It's like you could have kept the teaser. Let me see it when the product is like 80% done or something. So yeah, that's all I really got to say about that. But I do want to mention, because I kept forgetting to mention this, I'm gonna tag this on at the end of this. The Xbox headset, that black headset, I don't think I've mentioned it before. That thing is such a game changer.
Hmm.
I was not expecting it to be that good. And this is coming from somebody who already has a couple headsets. Like I got the budget one on right now. That was the Logitech one that is really just for while we do the podcast, really. And then I have a really good Turtle Beach one that I've had for a few years now. That was basically my main Turtle Beach headset, which I believe is the 700 Max. That's supposed to be compatible with everything, and it is. Um, but I took a chance on that all black Xbox headset, and I'm really, really happy to do it because that to me is the best headset I ever had. And I didn't even think that the sound would be that much better because to me it's just like a sound. What more can you do with sound? And that's just because I was just being kind of like ignorant a little bit because I didn't really try a bunch of headsets because really you just get one and that's it. But like that one, the sound was just very dynamic. I couldn't believe how good it was. And I was really only playing um the Master Chief Collection, playing Halo 2 on the Series X. And this is like a little while back where I had just got it. I just got the Elite controller and was really just sitting back, just having a good old time with the Xbox experience. But the sound was just so dynamic and it was so like so much power in it. And it was like, I can't really explain. It had some really good bass. And it felt like you could feel the rumble all around you when you're like, running around shooting and stuff. Anybody who has a Xbox or PC, that is the headset to get, like for sure. It's typically $100. I think this might be like a 120 normal retail now due to inflation. It was 100 in the beginning, and then it was 100 again during the holiday sales. But even at 120, I think it's worth it. I think it's absolutely worth it. Game changer headset. I couldn't believe how good it was. So yeah, I just wanted to mention that. I also wanted to mention something really cool I saw with Starfield. So Starfield came out a year and a half, maybe 2 years ago. And beforehand, it was probably considered one of the most hyped games in a while. That everybody was like hooping and hollering over, and then it kind of came out, and then it didn't really live up to the hype to a lot of people. It was just another game. And then people kind of turned on Bethesda a little bit because they felt like Bethesda was like a little bit more lazy, didn't want to like really work on the meat and potatoes of the game for the long run, the long term. And apparently, just like Skyrim or something, it was like, well, we'll let the modders do what they do. And so the modders caught up to this title, and they came out with this particular mod that I believe they were calling Star Wars Genesis. And it was pretty cool looking. I thought it was like a really, really good looking mod, but apparently one of the complaints people were having was that in Starfield there was like a lack of alien and like really, really like beastie looking creatures and stuff, and not just regular humans. And so this game really fills that in using a whole bunch of Star Wars. And like planets are now more filled in. It's not like empty wasteland planets. And they're filled in with a lot of different monster types, a lot of familiar looking ships and stuff if you've been like a big fan of Star Wars. And so it's like the chef's kiss to Star Wars within Starfield. And if you turn on the mod, to be aware, it will start you over completely. You won't have your save data, but then you just
Okay.
play the game as if you were like a part of the Star World, like Star Wars Star World, basically. Like you're just in it. Um, and you do everything you would have seen in Star Wars in the past and stuff. And so I took note of it. I was like, you know what, I'm gonna come back and play that, because with Starfield I didn't want to play that through Game Pass anyway. I wanted to play it like owning it on PC, because I wanted access to all of these different all of these different mods and stuff. And this is one of the mods that just came out, and a lot of people are like really gushing over it. So I'm really excited to see it. I really want to play it. I'm hopefully there's another mod that like adds on top of this. Is like, okay, you got Star Wars, but then now you're adding like pretty much everything you could think of that we've seen, and it's just in the world. Because we don't really want, nobody wants to have like big worlds where there's just no, like there's just wastelands of just no content and stuff. It's like people want to see a lot of content, you know, they want to see
Hmm.
filled in worlds no matter where they're going. And so the community is doing it. I don't know who did this, but I heard people say they should sign this person, or like bring that person into a deal, or people, whoever was doing it, because it's like the community is doing it better basically than the actual developers, which is, it's common that we say that, but it's crazy that we say it so often. But yeah, that's all I really want to see. I don't know if you have any words on that, but I'll let you speak if you do.
No, I think it's a uh, cool, really cool idea. Hopefully they get creative and do some other stuff as well. So like, Star Wars, of course, it'll be cool. Of course, I want to see some Power Ranger stuff. So even like in space, Lost Galaxy or SPD, like traveling planets and doing that type of thing. But yeah, I'm interested to see. I'll probably check it out when I eventually get the game.
I remember there was still like a DLC for Star Wars or Starfield that didn't really go over too well. So I don't know if you need that. Maybe you have to just do your research on it. But the main thing is that it's called Star Wars Genesis mod, basically. So search that, you'll find everything you need, and yeah, have a good time with it. I plan to have a good time with it. I'm gonna buy that and play the game that way. Of course, play the game probably to beat the original gameplay campaign. Once you beat the campaign, then yeah, go back and play with the mod, see if you like it. I was never really a big a big long term Elder Scrolls person where I would just be lost in it forever. But
Mm,
I know there's a lot of people who are, so this
hmm.
might be something for them. But I don't know. Skyrim is a game where it just, like, people just have a whole computer for it. Like, it just lasts
Yep.
forever, I guess. I don't know. Um, Not really that type of gamer, but I would love to play some mods of games like this. But yeah, let's see. I put in the agenda to go to the halfway point right after this. But it looked like we're moving fast. So, Let's actually not do the halfway point, but pull an audible. Let's actually go to Code Violet. I want to speak on that for a second.
Oh yeah, it's
Have
the
you
dinosaur one, right?
yeah, the dinosaur game. Have you watched any reviews or anything on that? Did you follow up on that at
Nope.
all?
I like recently heard about it, or not heard about it, but like recently thought about it because I was thinking it was when I'm gonna be honest, when I saw the notes, I was thinking it was Code Vein since part two's coming out. Until it kind of registered maybe 10 minutes before we started, it was like, oh wait, the dinosaur game. And I was going through YouTube, so I haven't really looked at anything yet.
So, it started off with mixed reviews, and then mixed reviews kind of went negative after a while. There is some backstory to it. So, first and foremost, it's a $50 title. It's somewhat of a budget title because it's actually done by apparently four developers, literally four.
Mm.
Um, and there was some controversy around it too because they don't want to make a PC version. And the reason is because they don't want people to do lewd mods, basically. And it's so goofy because to me, I'm like, well, why did you put so many like sexy outfits and stuff in this game? Because they didn't loaded this game up with all type of outfits, but they
Mm.
don't want you to make her completely naked, I guess. But there's a good portion of it where you start off where she like wakes up and she's in her underwear, and there's a lot of angles where you can see like, you know, a lot of stuff, a lot of fan service. And then you're kind of walking around this thing, and yeah, it's a dinosaur game, but you're walking around like with your gun and stuff, and you're in your underwear basically. And then you can go in the menu, you can change into like all different type of outfits that are cosplay-ish outfits that show off fan service.
Mm.
But they don't want you to just completely mess with her, I guess. I think this is a game similar to Starfield, where the community could fine tune this so fast and do everything that it needs for this title, because the title is bare bones right now. The animation is off, the dinosaurs coming at you and stuff. Like attack animations or contact animations look a little weird. It's like you wouldn't collide with a dinosaur like that. And then there's awkward moments where right after the collision you don't die instantly, so you're kind of standing next to a dinosaur and is waiting to like, I guess, reset and attack you again, kind of thing. And so it looked a little weird. I think currently it's just a PlayStation 5 exclusive. They're saying currently no PC version, and it's no news of it going to Xbox or Nintendo at the time right now. But yeah, it's not from what I've seen, because I said I wanted to follow up on it. I do still want a shooter that is featuring dinosaurs. Co-op would be great. The game Second Instinct basically went away before it could even come out and be a thing to anybody. And this is like another game that could possibly be like that. A game where you know, you can have a dinosaur title, but it's not as good as it needs to be. It needs to be better. It does. From what I've seen and stuff, it still looks fun, but it needs a lot of work. But at the same time, for developers, I mean, you know, it's actually is pretty impressive how far they got with this as for developers. And if you look at the title, it kind of looks like a Resident Evil clone until a dinosaur shows up. It's like it would expect a zombie or something to just come pop out the corner, but it really is going to be a dinosaur at some point. I want to play it when it goes on a deep sale. I really hope that they change their mind and release not a PlayStation, a PC version, because that desperately needs the community.
Mm.
It desperately needs it. But yeah, it is what it is. Any thoughts on this title?
I always, as much as I always complain about that form of modder. I do. I don't like the idea of saying we don't want to release it on this whole console because we're afraid of what a couple people can do. You can just really make it known that you don't, support uh that being done. But then after that, it's not your like problem. It's not your responsibility. They buy the game, they're done, and then whatever they do with it, they do with it. It no longer ties back to you.
I know you ain't gonna like to hear me say this, but they could have really probably used some AI or something to to get it to where it probably needed to be.
Again, but there's a difference. Even though, like I said, where I'm always against like the AI use, it's a team of 4 people, and it's not like they were going to use AI and make it a team of 3 people, right? They weren't firing somebody, and they probably didn't have the resources to hire a 5th person, right? That's where it's like, no, it's fine. Like, use the AI if it's supporting you, really to really get things done. Use it. It's when AI is used to replace. Of his like, we're gonna like save money. Don't hire this person. Just let the AI do it. Versus, I need AI to help me get this job done. I think there's a big difference.
Funny thing about it though, the second you look at any content for this game, it's like, are you really not wanting this to be on PC for the reason of people doing fan service? Because when you see it, it's like that's exactly what it is. It's really goofy.
Do you think maybe they don't want to be on PC because they're afraid that the PC community will just do it better for free, and then everybody will talk about their shortcomings, and they're afraid to be labeled that way?
Because we don't know who the 4 people are. They might have a name of their studio or something, but don't nobody know who they are yet. I don't think they should worry about that. And more people will want to buy the base game to get to the mods.
But think about if the time they finally go to try to release a second game, if they have the label of the community needed to make their game good.
Shoot, if it's a modder that's like one specific person that's really good, that he could be the 5th person, and then they could really come in and like,
oh yeah, you're right,
really do it. So, and then what if they got signed? Like, what if it became a thing, and then they got signed by PlayStation to be an official 5th studio, and then like have not 5th studio but official studio.
Yeah.
And then have the 5th person with them and do some stuff. It's like they don't want to. They shouldn't try to block their blessing over something like that, because those people are still gonna do that regardless. I mean, there's no stopping it at this point.
Yeah, unfortunately.
There's no stopping that. But I look forward to playing this. I will play this probably. I'm not gonna lie. It would have to be like one of those deep sales during the holiday season type thing. But I will play it. I will try it. But yeah, it is what it is. Code Violet, not to be confused with the real Code game, Code Vein, that I believe will be coming out around the same time as the Xbox Developer Direct. So it'll be a big time to review this stuff. My co-host was telling me he don't want to come next week. This is actually going to happen like right after that anyway. He needs to finish up Resident Evil 7. He told me he needed more time to work on that so he can get some good footage for us. I was like, all right, that sounds like a good enough excuse. And then afterwards, we will come back and then we'll talk about that direct, and then this game will come out, Code Vein 2. I'm very much interested. I will be watching a lot of gameplay from people, looking at some reviews and stuff, because that's one of them games where I do actually want to play it right away, but I would like to know what is the condition of the system, not system, the game itself. I don't need it to be buggy or broken. The first one wasn't when I played it, but I didn't play it at launch. I just kind of played it.
Right.
So I don't know where that was going to be at. Is it an improvement? Is it more of the same? Would it be a letdown? We don't know. I would like to just see it. So yeah, we're gonna we're going to follow up on that one next. And yeah, we can move forward. So, the official halfway point, um, where we talk about Epic Games. So, Epic Games is our unofficial sponsor. I like to highlight them because they come out with free stuff every week, and almost religiously at this point. It might not be something that you might want, but free is free. You can't really complain when it's free. You can create a profile. You do not need to have your credit card or anything attached to it, but you are able to, buy anything extra on there whenever you want. But at the very least, you can have a profile for free and claim everything. And if you're not on PC, once you get on PC, you can log in and then all the games are there. So coming off of the heels of the holiday season, starting off, fresh for a new year, they have the game that's available right now until January 15th. And that's Bloons TDC. I don't know what that's about. When I looked at the cover is something I don't necessarily want to play, but it's free. That's Bloons TDC. And then we have 2 titles starting next week from January 15th to January 22nd. I don't know if one is a sequel to the other, but they're both Styx, right? One of them is Styx Master of Shadows. The other one is Styx Shards of Darkness. It does look like it's one of them type of gritty-ish games. But one of them probably is a sequel. Is one of them a sequel? Do it say that anywhere?
For what?
Styx, yeah.
Yeah, there's a few of them. I'm not super familiar with the game, but it is those Shards of Darkness is a sequel to Masters of Shadows.
Okay.
And it's the 3rd game set in this one fictional world called of Orcs and Men.
All right, so y'all can go and play one, finish it, and then play the next one right afterwards. Yeah, so those are the free games coming from Epic Games. And are there any Amazon Prime deals, sales that you wanted to mention?
Yeah, so the Prime games for the month, right now they have Civ 6, Civilization 6, which I feel like I've mentioned before. They give all the Civ games away. Reflections of Life, Dark Architect Collector's Edition. Next week we'll have Brigador Up Armored Edition and Gunslug Rogue Tactics. Deathkeep Harold Halibut later in the month, along with D&D Stronghold Kingdom Simulator, Al Qadim The Genie's Curse, Technotopia, and Elderborn at the end of the month.
All right, so it's a bunch of little stuff if you're on Amazon Prime.
Yep.
I find myself buying something on there like every week almost. But shout out to that. And then I don't really have sales. Pretty much everybody should know, like, they should have grabbed everything that they should have grabbed right during the holiday season, especially Black Friday. So everything else is just whatever you could find on Steam usually. I don't expect any of the main players to have anything that's really on sale, but you can always still check to like your local Walmarts and stuff, because for whatever reason there's always a sale specifically to a particular Walmart if they're just trying to get rid of like inventory, and you have to go and see what's in each one. So that'll be up to you in your local area. But yeah, that's pretty much it for that. Did you want to mention real quick is South Park inside of Fortnite?
Yeah, so they're doing or I guess they already did a crossover now with South Park, where you can go to Cartman Land, and they have all the different characters. It was actually an interesting video, like it played off like to the trailer for it played off like a South Park episode where they were playing Fortnite and like ignoring Butters and not inviting him to play. So he got mad and like turned into his Professor Chaos persona, and then stole like from their first RPG, the Stick of Truth. So he
Mm-hmm.
had that, which is supposed to be like this magical wand that they try to keep locked up until they threw it in a lake. And he said he swam through the lake all morning to try and find it. And he was just like, "I'm going to be the most powerful," and it somehow zaps them all into the Fortnite world. So they introduced them all. It's kind of interesting. They all have like robo suits that make them as tall as everybody else, and then they sit in it like a mech. And then they have a bunch of little side quests and things like that. So Fortnite's still doing their thing.
Okay. All right. Um. So my co-host did not see. He don't realize I peep games. So he mentioned in South Park being in Fortnite, but he ain't mentioned when they put I Show Speed in Fortnite. I'm like, why you hating on I Show Speed? I Show
Oh,
Speed
you didn't mention it either.
also he in Fortnite too. I just want to put
Okay,
that
you
out
ain't
there.
mentioned it either. Good for him.
I Show Speed in Fortnite too. I'm just saying. He in there too.
Congratulations. Like I don't care. Congratulations.
Yeah, so you can play with the South Park people and I Show Speed. I'm
Oh
just saying.
yay!
So any you wanted to mention also a update over here for Persona the
Yeah.
30th edition.
So if
Yeah.
you remember, I mentioned last week that they were saying on the 8th, like they were going to be updating their website and everything, and it was a whole lot of nothing. So in their website, it still for the most part looks the same. They're going to have some festivals going on, of course, like on other parts of the world, and some like cafes are going to be doing collaborations with Persona. So it's going to be all Persona themed for a little while, and then they mentioned that they're going to be doing a Persona 4 revival teaser trailer, or they have the teaser trailer, and they're going to have more information coming soon. Persona 3 Reload for the Switch 2 version coming soon, and then that's all they're talking about for now. And they said there might be some other stuff, but it was very much a like they were like, "Hey guys, get ready for our big announcement on the 8th," and their big announcement was that there's more announcements on the way.
They gotta
He even
stretch it
dropped a
out.
video. Yeah, the dude, like the creator, dropped a video, pretty much saying, "Hey guys, we got some more stuff on the way." Like that was it was just like, "Oh, thanks." Like, cool. You could have just updated it with more stuff when you had it.
I think everybody is fixated on having a roadmap where they just like they have like a thing where they drip feed stuff over time.
Yep.
And I guess that's what they're doing too. I don't think companies necessarily need to drip feed something. They just need to really just drop one like main announcement and stuff to go along with it. But drip feeding it is like at this point, like people have such short attention spans. I don't expect people to be like really following along like that. They're just gonna come back once they once they hear the big announcement. But yeah, that's kind of where I am with it too. It's like I would like to hear the big announcement. I still have Persona 4 Golden in my rotation. One of the titles I might end up picking back up full fledged probably in March. I don't think I'm gonna do that right now. But yeah, Persona, and then shout out to Metaphor Refantasio, big game about a year and a half ago, 2 years ago. Yeah, and we can move forward. All right, my co-host also wanted to let y'all know he pledges his allegiance to IGN. He is
I wouldn't
fully
go that far.
he wanted us to know that. I don't know why he wanted us to know this, but he wanted us to know. All right, so please tell us, why do you pledge your allegiance to IGN?
It's not I pledge my allegiance. I actually found some quality content. Now I'm super late to the game because apparently they've been doing this for a while. But did you know IGN does videos where devs react to speedruns?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I
They do
never
some
knew
stuff
about that,
like
where they get the actual like dev of the game to react. So I ended up watching the one for Outer Worlds 1, where the person beat the game in 14 minutes, and you can just see them going like it wasn't really even glitching. They didn't like glitch through anything. They were just speeding through dialogue and just going directly where they needed to go to do stuff. And they're just like, yeah, they're missing out on like all this content because that game is like a good 60 hours for one playthrough.
Mm.
Expansion. The person was like 14 minutes and they're like done. And watching them watch it, they have one for Doom: The Dark Ages, and it's a 42-minute speed run for the game.
Mm.
Or this other one that says Portal developers react to multiple speed runs, and it's a 22-minute video. So, or even for Baldur's Gate 3, you know how expansive that game is. That one they reacted. It's an 18-minute speed run. So, yeah, it's very interesting. Like I never knew they had this kind of. It's like, oh, look at that. IGN actually does have something. Because usually if I see the IGN label, I just move on completely. Oh, but you two kept suggesting stuff, and then I ran into that.
I didn't do too good in that Doom: The Dark Ages footage that y'all just saw. But yeah, they've been doing that, and Doom ain't the only game. I remember there was one that I thought was a little sus because I remember they had the Grand Theft Auto 5, like one of the heist missions. Excuse me. And they brought in like some dude who's supposed to be like a real life gangster or something. Like real life gangster dude like reacts to this type of heist mission.
Oh,
I'm like
those type of videos.
I'm like, how do we know he really somebody who used to pull this stuff off, like a big bank robbery? They had some dude who was supposed to be in a big bank robber. I'm like, okay. Like,
I've
really?
seen stuff like that where it'll say like former mafia member reacts to like
Yeah, like
the
what?
game, but I'm just like, are they allowed to announce themselves as former mafia? Like I thought, like unless everyone's locked up and he knows for sure. Like I
I
don't know. Yeah, those
mean,
ones I always thought was weird.
they just had something like that where it made me just look a little sideways. Like I don't know if I trust that, but yeah, I've seen a couple. I do watch. I'm a sucker for watching a lot of the like Souls like ones because I like to see the combat, like to see how people do. But yeah, they do have those. A funny reaction is there's one out there for Resident Evil where it was called X going or DMX's song was like modded into the game for Resident Evil 2 where Resident Evil 2 has Mr. X in there, which is a big stalking dude who is a tyrant, who's like a really big bulky dude who's not necessarily like a zombie. He's just stalking you or whatever. And when he comes really close, like the game starts to play DMX like song from the chorus part where it's like X gonna give it to you, he gonna give it to you.
Oh yeah,
And
yeah,
it
yeah.
shows like they had a compilation of like all the top streamers at one point too, like trying to like play the game, and then you just had that come in and they just get beat up by him. I was watching a lot of videos of that too. But yeah, you two got some cool stuff. All right, game on the screen. This is a blast from the past game. This is Power Rangers Super Legends.
Hey.
I finished the title a while back. I don't usually post this game that often, only whenever I wanted to just have a quick conversation about Power Ranger stuff. And I think we could take a tiny break from gaming to talk about it. But really the main topic that I actually forgot about for I want to say like the last couple months. This is actually an old topic, but I wanted to get your take on this. But it was brought to my attention that the Power Ranger web series thing was cease and desist and canceled by Hasbro. And we never spoke on it at all, like at all. And I just wanted to know what was your take on that and anything.
It kind of sucks, but like that AI, the trailer, everybody called it out. I think it felt like, because if it was like super independent, then it would have been like, all right, we get it, it's fine. But I think it was seeing that they were being backed by a major company. So again, it falls under that you couldn't hire somebody to do that.
It looked
Like
like they had a whole production crew and stuff from what I was
they
seeing.
did, and that was the thing. It's like you had a whole production crew,
They had a
and you
set
still
and everything. I'm like,
yeah, they had
okay.
like it was like a whole AI like person and everything doing something. And that's where I think people got upset. I think what's the main sad thing for me for it is the guy who designed the suits.
Mm-hmm.
Luckily he didn't get any like fallback from this. Like people didn't attack him. They were very understanding for this dude, but it sucks that his suits don't get to shine outside of some like set photos. I think
None
that's
of
what's messed
them
up.
got in
Goku
trouble
J.
though, right? All of them just was told to stop and then they just simply stopped, right?
Yes, 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 yes. So basically, it was they had the full backing. Then everybody was like, "Yo, what's this AI?" Called them out for using it and was like, "What are y'all doing? Come on, do better." And then Hasbro saw the fallback and was like, "Yo, stop."
Yeah, that's interesting. Um,
Also, I wonder if in part, I don't know fully, but with Disney owning it again and them working on a new Power Rangers series, I
mm-hmm.
wonder if they're trying to stop anything that could potentially outshine it or look bad. So if everybody's complaining, so now they're sour into Power Rangers before their Power Rangers come out, or if this is really good, and then now the hype is too much for Disney to compete with. Like, I wonder if it's one of the like, you know how Disney is. It's like that looks close to our idea, cut it out. So
I'm just confused too because maybe I should notice a little bit more, but I just know they have this thing on YouTube that they call fair use and original
mhm.
content, and there's been some fan stuff. I mean,
Yeah,
there was that infamous like little 15-20 minute clip where they just went full rated R, rated X almost in a
that
way.
kept getting taken down though. That people got like they were getting in trouble for that one. Um, there is
Yeah,
fair use laws and things like that, which I think this would have also could have fell under.
yeah.
And then they still got hit with that cease and desist. So I think it's they would have to announce that it's like full parody. And but then again, like I don't know how fully all that works. Because look how many fan films there are where they just straight up was like the whole Quantum Ranger as a series and like things like that. So um I don't know if those count under fair use, and maybe it's just because they're not a big channel, people ignore it. Same thing with we have a friend who's in like a fan made series, and they're straight up they use footage
I was gonna
from
mention
Super
that off air.
Sentai.
Like, what if I just sent that over?
That'd be messed up, but like I don't know if they care as much, but I don't know if that falls under. It might be transformed enough that they're allowed to use it, but at the same time, if they're just straight up pulling footage, they might not. Like I don't know how all that excess. Maybe it also has to deal with how much profit they're getting from it. If they're like, you know, fan resource, but they're not like getting officially paid for it. Maybe it's allowed versus like if it's a job. I just think of it as like when people try and use music that's copyrighted, but they say it's like I'm not doing this for profit, and then it's usually okay. So I wonder if it has to do that. Like you have to make it known that it's not a profit thing.
All right, I gotta go there. So we was talking off air for a very split second about a bunch of people doing some crazy stuff on Twitter with this
Mm,
little app, right?
hmm
So the industry that has that type of content professionally, they do a thing where they call it a parody as well. And I don't never see nobody taking that down because there's been some Power Ranger parodies that they done where they did, you know, they do they stuff.
Oh
And I'm
yeah,
like, well, that's to me is
I
way worse than you know a web series. Like, why they ain't take that
yeah.
down? You know what I mean? Like, I don't like
Um,
where does the line draw? Because that I would have took that down before I took down the little web series.
and they might be able to. Like again, I don't know the full law. I feel like they 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 could like cease and desist that stuff too.
Cause you know they
Um,
make a parody on everything. Like
yeah.
they do all that stuff. It don't
So
matter, you know, what the context, what the series is. Cause they done a bunch of superhero stuff too. All while
no,
Marvel and all of them was at their peak in the theaters.
yeah. So I
So
don't. Yeah, I don't fully understand how. I would have to look into it. I don't fully understand how parody law works, where you have to say it's a parody. I don't know why they're able to just cease and desist the web series. I kind of forgot it was a cease and desist. I thought they just stopped because they knew they were using AI and everybody was going to get mad, and they
No,
just
it was
quit.
an
But
actual cease and desist from Hasbro,
yeah,
specifically Hasbro was the
but
one,
then
and I
also weren't they
remember.
being supported by as Hasbro at first?
I don't think they were.
So
I
because
just know like I follow a bunch of the Power Ranger like fan channels where a bunch of people talk about that. They look at the merchandise, they show cosplay and stuff, and all of them was mad at Hasbro. They all were blaming them because it was basically just a production. They were doing it. I don't know if they were getting paid or how that was going, but it looked like something that was a little bit slightly more professional. Yes, they have their things that they probably could have worked on when you were looking at screenshots and stuff, but like afterwards, yeah, they just said no, and then they just stopped, and then that was just the end of it. So yeah. But yeah, the other part I wanted to mention about this, then we can get back on track. Like, I still follow the high end premium Megazords and everything, and I've kind of been vocal and annoyed on this for a long time, but the stylized Dino Megazord that's supposed to be like an anime style Megazord that I have the bootleg for a while now it's been listed as sold out, despite the fact that it's the actual re-release is not until May 2026. And I kind of feel like, for the people who probably just didn't get it in time, now they have to wait probably a whole nother year or so, or just may never get it, the official one, because they're not producing enough content for the people and they're overcharging, outside of that. So then you already know the scalpers and all of them are going to make it even more expensive. But the people who probably do want it, they still can't get it because they don't produce enough. So this whole time, it's actually been sold out for a few months. It was only available for purchase, the pre-order, I should say, for like a few weeks. It wasn't even available. And then after that, you're still going a little over a half a year waiting for the thing to officially release, and everybody else is just like, oh, it's sold out. I was like, well, this thing ain't releasing until May. Like, make more. Like, you mean to tell me you can't print out more for the people who want it? And I want the so I'm talking about the Flame Toys Megazord. I want the Thunder one that I've seen that screenshot on. Whoever took the picture, whoever saw that model, they haven't announced it yet, but I would be really mad if all of a sudden I didn't get to it in time and it's sold out and it just remains sold out even though it's not set to come out for like 6 to 8 months. It's like make more of the product. So I kind of have an issue with people coming out with products and then we just don't have enough of the product to go around. And I wanted to mention that because I'm still looking forward to that particular Megazord. And it may not be available. Now, the bootleg, I do have the bootleg. It doesn't look like a bootleg or feel like a bootleg. It feels like a premium figure. That version is still available. If anybody wants to get the bootleg, you can still go out there and find it. And I'm kind of thinking that I might end up just getting a bootleg of the Thunder Megazord when they do it, but at the same time, it shouldn't be hard to get. None of these products should be a hard product to get. That's just my opinion. I don't know if you have any context or anything you want to mention on that. But yeah.
I think you nailed it. Nothing to add to it. Honestly, just make more.
Yeah, like it should just be ready. Stuff should be ready and available. I don't know what's the issue with that.
I hate the idea of this weird, like, how do I put it? Like trying to make things sound like, I guess, exclusive, or like trying to capitalize on a fear of missing out. It feels like it's like, hey, we can't just put it in the store because then you can visibly see how many like are available, or just announcing, making enough for everybody, or over making so everybody can get one. But trying to be like, here's this exclusive thing, and you got to be the first one to get it, otherwise you may never get it ever. And it like makes that panic for people to go, well, now I gotta go get it. and hurry up, like as we saw with the whole Mario like game release where they try to be like, oh, there's only a limited amount and it's gonna stop selling. You gotta hurry up and get it before it's too late to try and like force you to get it right away instead of going like, I'm gonna really wait until I can somehow get it on super sale in
Yeah.
some degree. It's like, nope, gotta get it now. You gotta hurry up and spend the whole amount, otherwise you're gonna miss out. Ooh, and then like releasing it later, things like that. It just creates this weird fear of missing out that I don't like.
But what's so dumb too though is like, how many times can you do that with the same Megazord? Like, bro, it's the
Yeah,
same Megazord, bro. Like, how often? Like, that junk is crazy. Like, are we just never gonna make that thing available and then like put a really crappy version in the stores? Like, do you really need like I don't understand why they don't put real products in the stores no more. Like, can it really be that hard to, to do? But that's where we're
it
at
shouldn't
with
be,
it.
but yeah.
Yeah.
So I looked into I did a
Mhm.
quick look into our last topic.
Okay.
And I'll give like the short version of it. They claim Hasbro claimed that they canceled it because it looked too professional and didn't want it to interfere with the reboot of Power Rangers. So they're trying to say they're afraid people would think this was the reboot, and then like probably with all the AI claims and everything would mess up their actual reboot. People don't think this is necessarily true, but that's what they're saying. Um, Also, they were saying it wasn't Hasbro, that it was Playmate, the toy company,
Yeah.
that was like pushing them to do it, and they were saying that Playmate didn't have a right to the web series. So I guess if your thing looks too professional, however, they also think from this other thing that I was reading that they think producers and like some of the people in charge have backstage deals with the adult content stuff with those producers, and that's why they get away with it without being sued. But like of course they'll never admit to it, but that's the belief. So I still don't understand how parody law fully works, but it has to be to some degree because like, SNL gets to mock stuff all the time. Uh, and I think it's because it's a very obvious, like, you have to show that it's a very obvious parody and transformative enough that you're really trying to do social commentary on it, not just I'm using their assets. Um, which again doesn't necessarily explain, like we said, the kind of lower end, like, or I guess the fan made like Power Ranger stuff, especially the ones that try and cut through Sentai footage. So I think
Hmm.
theirs might be an argument of not being for profit since they're completely crowdfunded, or the case where they're just small enough that they're not getting noticed. But if they were to blow up, then they get it. I think if it's similar to like those old, like a rapper who goes by Froggy Fresh, but he used to go by
Hmm.
Krispy Kreme, and when he started getting traction, because people started liking one of his songs and it just started blowing up, then out of nowhere, Krispy Kreme was like, "You got to change your name, cease and desist." Like we own that name. Where he was out for a while, no one said anything, and he got like a moderate following. Then because one of his songs got popular, it was like a song about Christmas and it mentioned John Cena. So then somebody had John Cena react to it, and he thought it was good. But then it started getting noticed. Then all of a sudden, Krispy Kreme's like, "You got to change your name."
Kind of reminds me of the Power World situation. Even though Power World
Something like
apparently
that.
is winning, but
Yeah, but like that idea too, where it's like you have all these other monster catchers, but because they didn't blow up, nobody
hmm
paid attention. But then because this one was labeled as the Pokemon killer, now all of a sudden Nintendo has an issue with like catcher games, and it's just like, I think it has to do. I think that's a big part of it as well. But yeah, it has to be specifically parody, right? Like remember when what was it? PETA made that like horrible Pokemon game or that Sonic game where it was like trying to send a message. I think those are considered transformative and social commentary, and that's why they're allowed to do it.
I just wonder, could they pick production back up if they just put the word parody with it? Like, 'cause that seemed like what everybody else was doing, just
They could,
putting the word parody.
but I think now a lot of people soured on them using AI. Like, there's a lot of people who saw that it got canceled. It was like, that's fine. They were using too much generative AI anyways. So good. So I don't know if they'll be able to, even though they keep saying that it was a placeholder when they
Hmm.
dropped their trailer and that they were going to actually like use stuff later, and everybody's like, I don't believe you. So I don't know, but I think they could if they label it as parody.
I wasn't
Unless the
paying that
footage that
close.
they have.
I wasn't paying too close attention to it. I just thought of it as maybe one of them things I could have just, you know, sat down one day with some food and just watched real quick and then be done with it.
Yeah.
But I guess we can't do
And
that.
also, I feel like if you're using AI for like the special effects, like I don't know, it felt like I just felt like this was like a fan made thing that like a lot of people were paying attention to. But
Yeah.
again, this is one of those things where I don't, especially until like when I heard Hasbro cease and desist, and I thought they canceled because that was the way they phrased it, is they canceled it. So that's why I thought it was like, oh, Hasbro was like funding this, but I guess not. It feels like this is still an indie thing. Like I'm not expecting, like with the four people for Code Violet and everything. It's like a little bit of AI use here and there is not villain work. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Hmm.
do they have the funding to pay somebody to officially do this? Right? Like, so I don't know. It's weird. I still don't get the law.
Yeah.
But hey, I guess it's
Um.
for lawyers to understand, right? Not me.
Yeah. I just know there's so much stuff on the internet. It's like, well, what makes this? If it's popular, then we'll stop it. It's kind of a
Yeah.
goofy thing, but yeah, that's all I really wanted to mention. I don't think there's anything else really going on with Power Rangers right now, but
Uh,
I am still paying attention to the Megazords. That's just
well,
me.
two slight things. They've been talking about casting for the new Power Rangers reboot for stuff, and apparently, I think they said Priyanka Chopra, like a
Hmm.
relatively famous actress, might be being eyed for Rita Repulsa if they go that route. But also, people
Okay.
don't think they're going to necessarily do Mighty Morphin. They might be doing their own thing, so we don't know. But that's getting rebooted, and then for Super Sentai, they're bringing back Metal Heroes instead. So Super Sentai is officially ended, and they're doing the old like Space Sheriff, I think it was like
Hmm.
Space Sheriff Gavan and all of those. They're doing the Metal Heroes as the next thing.
All right. Well, I guess we
Oh,
can
and
move.
Funko is dropping Zeo. Since you were talking about with the figure and everything, they had released Zeo Red already when they did a whole Tommy thing. But now they're dropping the other five Zeo Rangers as Funko. They should be
Hmm.
available for pre-order on Wednesday.
Okay. That's dope. I know there was like a Funko that I saw in the store not too long ago of like the Megazord where you open the head and it's supposed to be a small
Yeah,
Funko of one of the Rangers. I think the red one.
I ordered the
Um,
Green Ranger with the Dragon Zord one because I already had a red Megazord. Right, I had the main team Megazord, not
I
the one that
did
opens
see
up.
some Funkos of like the Megazord combinations with the Green Rangers, the Battle Zord, and then the Ultra Zord. I've seen some of those. Um, so yeah, maybe Funko might not go out of business. Maybe they just drop some heat here and there, do
That'd
it
be
part
great.
time or something. I don't know. Um, but yeah, we got not too long of two topics, but I have one main topic, which is actually the bigger one. But just before that, let's revisit the whole co-host pick your the other co-host game topic that we mentioned last week. So um if let me give some context. I remember saying I listened to somebody else come up with that idea. I thought it was a cool idea. But they were doing way more than I think we would probably do. But just the idea of just picking a game for the other person to play. I think the rules is basically something that's on a modern platform. And yeah, I think that's the main thing. It's on a modern platform, and preferably, all the DLC, everything is out. So if somebody really like it, they can
Hmm.
just grab the whole thing. And yeah, you have a game that you
Yeah.
feel that you would want me to play, and then why would you want me to play the game? So I'll let you go. Let you go
All
first.
right. Digimon Survive. Um. So now, keep in mind that it is very like narrative driven, and a lot of it is point and click. It's like a mix between point and click and then your tactical turn based where you got to kind of like move around a grid and
Hmm.
everything. And I'm actually doing a second playthrough for that. But I will say that it is a lot of dialogue, so it might not be like I'm a little tired, let me drop something in real quick sort of thing, but it is
Mm-hmm.
broken up in chapters, so it's easy stopping points
Okay.
um for it, and it honestly plays out like a Digimon series. Like it's almost like feels like its own season. Um, but I also really want to get your take on some of the things that happen throughout it, and then some of the gameplay. For it, it's different than the Digimon story games. It matches more to like the TV series. So that'll be the one that I choose for you.
Okay. I do have the game. Funny enough, I was in the very, very, very beginning of Digimon Hacker's Memory. So I
Okay.
don't mind actually stopping it. I don't mind because that's actually not a January title for me. I actually didn't have that on the schedule, but it was like one of the ongoing ones I was gonna do. But
Now, you might want it as like a side game with something else where you're doing this for a little while and then something that's a little more uh blood pumping because the story really gets into it. Like it has prologue chapter 1, I think up to chapter 8.
mhm.
Maybe a little bit longer than that. Maybe it's either 8 or 12, something like that, or 10. It's probably 10. But like it really starts kicking in. It's one of those like really starts kicking in around chapter 3, 2
All
or
right.
3.
So how long would you say it would take to beat the game?
Oh, it takes not terribly long. Hold on. I can actually look on how long to beat just to make sure.
And it's not connected to hackers. It's not connected to
Nope.
the next order. Because
Nope. Completely its own thing.
I'll have to skip a couple of Digimon games to get
Yeah.
to it.
Oh, it's 30
Um,
hours.
okay. I did plan on playing that at some point. To me though, the way my schedule goes, it would have been way far out if I was going in order because
Mm.
I was going in order by game, and I actually was gonna go back to PlayStation 1 and play Digimon World 3 because a lot of people claim that was like one of the best ones and play it on that handheld. But I don't mind. I could skip that up. I could skip the rest of them or
And again, I must say, treat it like it's like an interactive Digimon season. Like you want to go into it feeling like you're watching something, essentially, just interactive.
it might actually it might go right well with my February titles cuz my February title was supposed to be a return to horror. Um
Oh, it'll fit.
um
It'll fit. It'll fit right in.
the game of choice was going to actually be Resident Evil 4, but this time instead of trying to play the first, I was just going to go straight to the remake and then come back to the first one probably later on at some point. Because I played the remakes of 2 and 3 anyway. I was like thinking about it. I was like, I know the fourth one, it was like head and shoulders above everything according to the community, but it's like I'll play the
Mm,
remake now and then I'll come back to it because the controls was just hard jarring for me at the beginning.
mm.
And I don't mind playing that with it. Um, yeah, and so I don't mind doing that. Now for you, I have chose a game that is technically in my rotation, and I have
Oh,
specific reasons for it. It's a game that I've mentioned plenty of times on this podcast. I think I've shown footage. Yeah, I did. I showed footage at some point. But the game is Bloodborne. The reason
okay.
the reason why, there's a very specific reason why, because you've mentioned plenty of times that you didn't like Lords of the Fallen. We're currently playing Remnant from the Ashes. There's a person, I don't know if this dude listening, but shout out to you for bringing it to my attention. Somebody was asking me, so someone pulled my stats. I didn't think this would be a
Oh,
thing,
I
but
didn't know people actually did that.
somebody decided to look and said, I noticed you keep playing the Souls likes that are like all the like copycats, but you're not playing the real Souls games. Why don't you just go play Elden Ring? That's what somebody said to me. And I said, my response was, I'm trying to get through the copycats because y'all said the other ones was the better ones. And then afterwards, like from the perspective of the community, if you play the better ones first, you can't play the copycats. And so he was like, okay, I guess I can understand that. And I was like, well, yeah. And then one of the main ones that I was playing was Bloodborne, and I do still feel after all the copycats, even the one Code Vein that I've praised in the past, I feel like Bloodborne is head and shoulders over everyone. And they have done it correctly. And I'm playing Liza P right now, and as I'm playing it, I do still feel a tiny bit of guilt because I feel like Liza P is doing it correctly, but I know they're copying the Bloodborne formula, and I haven't finished Bloodborne. I do plan to finish it. I was playing it this morning, and like it does some of the same stuff. Like it's just spot on with it, and that's another one that's like a 30-hour title. I think Bloodborne itself is like a 30-hour title. But that's the one that everybody's
gonna take me 30. I'm gonna get beat up.
but the thing about it is it's the beauty of this is that this is gonna be one of the games where even if you don't finish it right away, you can show the footage along the way. We're gonna talk about the footage, and then I can get your take on how it's supposed to be, because that one was supposed to be the one where they perfected their formula, because that's after Demon Souls originally, Dark Souls 1, 2, and 3. They perfected their formula there. They didn't touch this type of thing for a while. Then they did Sekiro, and then Elden Ring, which took them to the moon, basically. And so, yeah, I would like to see you play all the way through it. I'm only about like around half, and I do plan to go back. The reason I stopped initially is because the controls were way too similar to Lords of the Fallen, but with tiny slight twists, and it was throwing me off. And I was just like, all right, I'll stop because we're playing that. But now that we're done with it, you know the controls, because you will know the controls if you play Lords of the Fallen, and then the game is balanced correctly. So yeah, I want to see you play it. So
Okay.
that is my pick.
All right. I'll throw that into the rotation for this year.
Bloodborne and Digimon Survive. That's a cool one. That's a cool little mix. I like it. That'll be cool. For the footage for the podcast, maybe we can do some more ideas like that as we go along.
Okay. I have a question about the footage that's on the screen.
What's up?
Are you the blue Operation Overdrive Ranger?
Yeah.
It is to me the like second worst Power Ranger in this whole thing. But all right.
Yeah. This the boss fight. This footage got like only a minute and a half left, so we're still gonna do the last topic, which is technically a main topic, but I don't know how long we need to spend on it. The Steam machine. The Steam machine's price, quote unquote, leaked. I honestly don't believe that this is official, but I do think the prices will be similar to this. But I gotta ask you first, did you see the Steam machine price leak and the controversy, everybody being upset about that? Did you see any of that?
Nope, I did not.
All right, well, the Steam machine's price. So here's how the reason why I think this isn't real is because nobody mentioned anything about that virtual headset, which is supposed to launch with it. They've only focused on the machine itself. So I'm like, if anybody really had like price leak for one, why didn't they have a price leak for the other? But it apparently came from some random website that's supposed to have a retail list. There was a channel that I was listening to that pretty much said he calls BS on this because the Steam machine is not even going to be released in the retail stores. And I'm like, yeah, of course. Did anybody think about that? But I'm not going to prolong it. They are saying so it's two models, if everybody remember. It was the 500 gig model and then the 2 terabyte model. So they're saying the 500 gig model is supposed to cost $950, and the 2 terabyte model is supposed to cost $1,070 specifically. And then that was it. They just had that out. They have some screenshot that's supposed to be some code inside some retail store somewhere, and that's what they've been going off of. Everybody's like, "Oh, it's dead in the water, dead on arrival." Actually, nobody's gonna get it. The thing that dictates this is the price, and blah 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 blah. I kind of believe that. That's what dictates the overall. Pricing it like a pre-built might not be the way to go. Pricing it like if it was a high-end console obviously is the way to go. But it depends on how you look at it, because the handheld market is absolutely above this or right at this point. So it really depends on your look on it. But what do you think? What do you think about these prices?
That's insane of a price. That is way too much.
Way too much?
You could buy a really, really good or a really nice base. You could buy a nice basic pre-built for the price of the 2 TB. You can get a really good laptop, like a really good laptop, for the price of the for the 500 gig one. Like, really good laptops can cost you about like 600-700 if you know like where to go, what to get, all that good stuff. So you can get a really solid one that could do more. Like, you could do more. It comes with a screen. It can play the same games. Like, that's an insane price point for that.
I honestly don't think that they're too far off though, because the one thing that stands out to me is they kept saying it's supposed to be 6 times more powerful than the Steam Deck. The Steam Deck has a $600 model. So it almost makes sense, because I'm like, well, it wouldn't go cost. How would you sell this right next to the thing that's 6 times less powerful and put it at a $600 price point? I never saw that.
Well, I already thought the Steam Deck cost too much, but I think the other argument, which I don't know if it's a big enough argument for that, but the portability versus stationary, but yeah, no, that's way too much still. Like, it makes, like, if you're going, it needs to be more expensive than the Steam Deck. Yeah, but I think that also goes to show that the Steam Deck costs way too much.
So there is still the dockable, I might add, Lenovo Legion Go, which is in the $1,300 range, and then the Xbox Rogue Ally X, which is exactly $1,000. And so those machines are out there, and they're priced right where this is priced. And I don't really know if they're saying that it's doing well or not. I think it's doing probably fine. I think that they were fine with the sales that they got for the Rogue. I don't know. I haven't really kept up with the Legion Go like that. But they got different models of it, and each model is still like hovering around this particular area. So it kind of lines up with it. But I mean, maybe the audience is just not, like, I don't know exactly where it's going to be. I do think it might not be what these numbers are exactly, because I don't see how the $900 model could be that close to the $1,000 model. I feel like there should be like somewhat of a gap in between. That's not really a gap to me. Not for no SSD or something like that. Like, I feel like you could just get that separate and just have it hanging off the back of the thing like I do with almost every other device. But the Legion Go and the Ally X and the high-end Steam Deck are all the Steam Deck's high-end is like $650 if I'm not mistaken.
That's still too much.
That one's not really that high up. But I honestly thought the smartest thing for them to do is to undercut the PS5 Pro excuse me, on the low-end model at least. Because I think the PS5 Pro is at the $700 mark, if I'm not mistaken. Or it might be $750, I forgot. But if they undercut that one with their low-end model at least, then they're in the market technically for a console. But if you come out with this and ain't nothing, in the market or next to a console, I think now you're doing a disservice. Sorry.
I agree with you. it kind of sucks. Honestly, it's just that the world is so expensive, but like that's its own problems in itself. But yeah, I don't know. That just feels like too
950.
much. And I think it's also it feels too much for a thing that like honestly I felt like this was just which I guess now when you call it that would I just felt like it was like, hey, is the like setting up a PC too difficult for you? Well, here's something that's ready made that can handle it all because there's more console, right? Like if you don't want to have to deal with having to learn how to tweak settings, etc.
Hmm.
Like here's this, but I guess if that's the case, they're trying to say it's the easy PC, so we're gonna give it PC pricing.
What's actually
Um,
funny too is I don't know if anybody been paying attention, but I've been watching a lot of these videos where there's a couple people out there that has been making videos where they title it I couldn't wait for the Steam machine, so I built my own.
oh,
And all of them have been trying to build PCs in the tiniest case they can find that are square
interesting.
shaped. Yeah, and some of them are still somewhat bigger, and then some of them they're just the straight up mini PCs. Because if you search mini PCs, you're gonna find a little square shaped PC, and people are buying those and they're taking them home and putting a program on there called Bazite that allows you to have SteamOS where when you boot the thing up, it's only booting SteamOS and it just gets rid of Windows altogether.
Hmm.
And so that's the closest that you would get where you do it yourself. Because if we remember, everybody can do that right now. And if you're looking at these prices, the mini PCs technically undercut the Steam machine while still having sometimes better specs. So I don't think this can't be the price. That if that was the price, that's they really are just shooting themselves in the foot. They have to have that low end model be right in there with the consoles. It can't be sitting on top. It has to be cheaper than at least one of them, which has to be the PS5 Pro in my opinion, because that one is the one that I think is either 700 or 750. You have to have a system that's under that. You got to if you want to get the attention of a bunch of people who are in the console market. That's
Yeah.
just my opinion. I don't know. I mean, maybe I'm just an armchair analyst. You know how they be saying, you're an
Yeah.
armchair analyst. You don't know what you talk about. When all I say is just put the products in the stores, or you don't know what you're talking about. Well, I feel like I should be spot on here with this one. Like, no, it's not going to be on the same price as a Series S, but it should be one of those models. The 500 gig model should undercut one or two of the high end consoles. It's supposed to. It has to in order to get people's attention. And the high end models is the Series X and the PS5 Pro. So
Hmm.
I mean, am I too far off? Am I not making sense? I feel like I am. I feel like I should be. Where would you
No,
think?
it makes sense.
So okay, the PS5 Pro is 750. Should there be a Steam machine that's less than the PS5 Pro?
I
That's
think
the
so.
highest one, I think. I think that's unless well, technically the Series X has a 2 terabyte model that's 800, right? So I mean, if I'm following the logic, like okay, the Steam machine is also a 2 terabyte machine. So and then so is the PS5 Pro, 2 terabyte machine. So they should still line up with these consoles. It
Hmm.
should not. It should not jump ahead. Cause I'm like, I'm not sold on that controller whatsoever. They better not tell me it's because of that controller. I am not sold on that controller at all. So I don't know. Where do you think it should be priced at? At least the
Honestly,
low end
around
model.
the low end should be like
Like realistically.
700, 650, 700,
700
somewhere
for the
around
low
there.
end. Okay, and then the
And
two
then
terabyte model, what do you think that one should be?
800.
800. Well, it's gonna be more of more of a thing between that. I think the higher end model is probably gonna be $100 more to $200 more. So Series X and Series S initially, one was 300, one was 500. I would be willing to bet that at the very least There's $100 difference because PS5 digital version versus the disc version, there was $100 difference. And then the Series S to Series X, there was a $200 difference. So I would imagine they will follow that same formula of being like $200 difference. Can you do me a favor? Can you look up real quick what was the starting prices of the Steam Deck? It was 3 models. They had a low end model that was supposed to be like a Switch Pro model initially that they kind of did away with. And then they had a 250 gig model and a 500 gig model. You remember what
So
those
it
prices
says
were?
the original Steam Deck came with 3 models: a 64 gig one for 400,
Right.
a 256 for 530, and a
Okay.
512 for 650.
So each one was about a 100 to 150 off from each other, right?
Mm-hmm.
So,
The base one briefly dropped to 350
right.
before being discontinued in 2025. So entry level is 550. See, to me, it's like 350 for the low end, and then the upper end should have been at most, I don't know, 450, maybe 500. Um, and then this should have been priced at like 600, 650 for the Steam machine,
So this
right?
was
Like I think it's
before
part of it
all the
has to do with
RAM.
the.
Yeah.
Oh, I think just part of it has to do with the Steam Deck also being too much. And yeah, this is all before the RAM stuff.
It was before the
Says
RAM stuff, before the crypto. Well, I don't know, not before the crypto, like right after the crypto part.
mm-hmm.
But cuz not I don't know, the inflation thing took everything up, right? Everything
Mm-hmm.
increased, but it didn't increase
I
that
think they used
much.
that as an excuse.
It was an
But
excuse. It
yeah.
absolutely was an excuse. I just don't see it doesn't make sense to me to price this. It shouldn't hit 4 figures, period. Cuz there's no way. Cuz I think even cuz this wasn't a topic, but it was mentioned that the Switch 2 did not do good this past holiday. Did you hear about that?
I did not.
They said it did not do good, and this is a
Mm.
$400 machine. And I do know that I've seen in some of my areas, the better, you know, better areas than the poverty areas. They had a lot of Switch 2s that was just sitting on the shelf. I like to just
Mm.
roll through there, but it didn't really look like they was flying off the shelf. I'm gonna be honest, it didn't.
I
But
mean, was there really anything for like? It was like buy this machine for the new Mario Kart. Like that was really what
mhm.
it was. And eh.
I mean, maybe the Donkey Kong.
Was that
Um,
exclusive too?
yeah,
To...
the Donkey Kong
Oh
was.
yeah.
I don't think the Metroid wasn't. The Pokemon wasn't.
Mm-mm.
Um, some of the other like I think Kirby Air Riders was, but that didn't gain. That didn't really move the needle that
I'm sure
much.
it'll fly off when like either they make an Animal Crossing that's exclusive or a Zelda that's exclusive.
Um, if they announce a new 3D Mario, everybody will recognize that system. But the system wasn't doing too good. I don't
Mm.
think it's the same situation as the Wii, where a bunch of people think it's the same system, even though it does look like it's the same system. I just think people just didn't want it. Honestly, I
Mm.
think that's what it was. I think if we're really being honest, they just didn't want it, even though it's at 400. I think people just did not want that system this time. But yeah, the systems were just not doing as good. Um, I think the companies are really trying to push this higher price point, and the people are just not there with everybody. We're just not there. It is what it is. People just don't want to do
Mm-hmm.
it. But it is January. If we remember, they said it was supposed to be in first quarter. We were supposed to get a release of this machine. First quarter to me sounds like January, February, March. So it probably is not going to come out in January.
Mm.
But are we going to hear the price beforehand if it's going to be first quarter? They got to say it eventually. But yeah, if they do this, if that low end model is not 700 or 650, it will probably be dead on arrival. It probably will be. it probably it is what it is. But that's it. That's all I got. We can get ready to play some Remnant from the Ashes 2, or is it called? It's Remnant 2. Shout out to the Hulk on the screen. I'm gonna just play that next week. Yeah, like, comment, share, subscribe. Make sure y'all get yourselves a slushy maker. Don't buy the Steam machine. Buy 1,000 slushy makers and give it to all your family. All right, peace.